Okay,
Is it struggling with?
right. So you guys have been struggling with getting your systems together inside the bus in order to get proper insurance and everything else. It has to look like a home and be a home. And of course they're on a budget, maybe not quite as strict as mine, but they're on a budget, still like most people are. And there are so many different ways to do this. Someone somewhere along the way, or some multiple people, may have told them, you have to have a water tank underneath the bus. You have to have a black tank. You have to have a certain kind of toilet. You have to have a certain kind of solar system with a certain wattage inverter. And those things might be true at some finished stage of their situation, but there might have been a way to guide them for less money on a budget to get started, get the things like safety issues like tires out of the way, and got the insurance under their belt, and still had more of a home to work with in the beginning stages. And then they could have chosen as they went along to upgrade to a more expensive, fancier thing, or air conditioners, or whatever it is they want in the end. A lot of people don't think to come ask Simply Lesa for some of this kind of advice. People who know me do. But a lot of people
after this
don't.
video, they will.
Yeah, a
After
lot of
this
people
video, they
don't
will.
think.
And if I can, if I
Yes.
can add in here, the items that we acquired and the path that we took is somewhat of a traditional path with a black tank for waste, with a large fill tank for fresh water and for potable water, and so on and so forth. What Lisa's suggesting is that for those individuals who may be watching this video in the future, and you're looking at starting on the path, well, do I need to go this route, or is there an alternative? And there is an alternative, and that's what she'd like to
Right.
share with everyone.
There are alternatives.
Well, I mean, to start
Plural.
with, we just did
So,
a 3-gallon bucket with a pump, so we had water.
Right.
right. And with a hand pump is wonderful. With a little turn spout, it's a start. But even in my van, you see that faucet right there? This faucet right here is a rechargeable USB faucet. I have running water in my minivan, okay? I don't have a sink, no, but I have running water. So there are alternatives. I know of a system that is available on Amazon that uses 5-gallon round blue water jugs. These water jugs are, I don't know if it's officially called daisy chain when you use in water, but close enough. You guys should understand that. It daisy chains 4 of those big blue refillable water jugs that they use on a water cooler. It daisy chains 4 of them with a either 110 or 12 volt little box that gets mounted on the wall, and that powers a pump that runs to a kitchen faucet. It's made, set up for RVs. It cost about $89 for that system. That right there, you've got running water. My little pump is a $25 pump. It gives you running water. This goes on a larger jug than I have it mounted on. There are options for you to have running water to a sink so that you could start your life. And that doesn't have to be so complicated, right? And so then, yes, you would need a sink, you would need a drain. There's a Camco drain assembly unit that cost $11 or $15 on Amazon. Well, it's available in a lot of RV stores as well. It's the whole piece that includes like a P-trap so that you don't get a reverse stink. And it can be simply put into a water tote jug that you then would dump.
that you
somewhere.
use for your gray water.
Any
That
kind
would
of
be-
receptacle.
Right, to make it a gray water. So so there is that piece that's very inexpensive. Or you could drill the hole through the floor of your vehicle, or make an outlet place where you could run an outside, an
Right.
exit for your water, a
Right.
drain pipe
drain.
for your water, which could be even hooked to a hose, which on my property I have done in many trailers.
Mhm.
I've done that. Well, many. I've redone 5 vintage trailers, and then for different amounts of money gotten rid of them. They never were fancy. They were just basic. But anyway, so that's one thing. Then there's toilet options, because another thing that's going to happen for Richard and Candy is as they go forward, now they're going to, when they're not in a place where water is easy to get, cheap, and with a hose, they are now going to have to go to RV parks and stuff on their travels in order to fill their tanks and dump their black tanks once they get those things installed. But there are other options for toilets that aren't buckets. Now, some of us don't mind a bucket. Some of us don't mind, I like a toilet seat personally. Y'all know that if you know me. But there are other options. Yes, there are composting toilets. Yes, there are dry, I forget what that one's called.
You
There's
mentioned
a
the
dry
word
thing.
cassette.
Yeah, there's a cassette toilet.
A
Yeah.
cassette toilet
Mm-hmm.
that evacuates
From
to the exterior of the bus
right, through a little door.
through
Yeah.
a little door. That was an important point, because now this is all being filmed near Yuma, Arizona. I'm an Arizona resident. We were attempting to get approved through Arizona Department of Transportation. One of the key things that they needed as far as their life support systems in order to approve us to switch from a bus to a motorhome, Class A motorhome,
Right.
was to have a toilet system that evacuated to the outside.
Right.
And it appeared to me that the cassette toilet system
Would have
worked.
solved the problem.
Right.
Yeah. And there are ways to use things like RV toilets and cassette toilets, where the only thing that's actually going to need to be dumped is liquid, and that is through. Well, I'll tell you guys. You get a spaghetti colander from a 99-cent, like Dollar Tree store. And usually they're white ones, but doesn't matter what color it is. But white, because it's in your toilet, is nice. You set it inside the toilet bowl, and when you close the lid on the toilet bowl, it's under the lid. And then you put a couple of pieces of newspaper in there. Do your business like normal. Any liquids are going to drain through and go into your little liquid tank, or your black water tank, or whatever you've got. If it's a cassette toilet, it's or even a porta potty. And then you take a large dog poop bag, and they make them for large dogs. And if you get black ones, then you don't have to see it. You put your hand, you turn the bag wrong side out over your hand. In fact, this is not a dog poop bag, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. Pretend this is a large size dog poop bag. So this is the right way open. So you put your hand inside like this, and put your other hand this way, and turn it wrong side out over your hand. And then you take this hand, just like you were picking up dog poop, and you gather the newspaper of what you've done with your human waste inside this colander up into this bag, and turn the bag right side up over it, tie the bag, and then dispose of it, okay, in a way that you would dispose of a baby diaper. And then your black tanks only have liquid in them, and so you only have to deal with liquids in your black tank, which is much easier to deal with in a lot of situations. Now, some people won't do this, and that's fine. You do what works for you, because this is a very individual lifestyle, and you have to be. I said this in an earlier version. I don't know what gets edited in the end, but I think we need to be radically self-responsible out here.
I like that word.
Radically independent, radically
Radical
responsible.
But
Yeah.
also your urine, if you didn't have a black tank, you could put it in a
Coffee can.
Yeah.
Yes, and especially
Other choices.
You can put it in
There's-
a coffee can,
right.
and then the plants in the desert
There,
thrive on the nitrates, right?
well, the
You just have
jury's
to make sure that
the
you're not
jury's out
violating
on
any
this.
laws.
Okay, the jury's out on that one. But it in a general sense, it doesn't hurt the ground to have liquids in it. But the best I can't think.
Solution?
Solution with liquids
Disposal.
is if you cut the urine 1 to 10 with water or with another liquid. And so even in my case in a minivan, I do that was my pee jug, okay? And in my pee jug, when I'm washing my dishes, I throw my dishwater in that jug as well. And then that's cutting my liquids. So when my liquids get dumped on the ground, in a campfire pit, because in a campfire pit, it helps to avoid any possibilities of, usually it's an unused pit that I'm going to dump it in. But watering the plants, it depends. It's safe from the permaculture standpoint, but from the people who are worried about some plant getting too much nitrate or something, there's people out there that will get mad at you for dumping your urine. And there are some cops who have a flashlight and they will check to see if you're dumping urine in order to know whether or not you're actually living like in a Walmart parking lot and things like that in different parts of
If
the
I may interject,
country. Yeah.
it's important for those who are watching this video, you might want to go back to the beginning of this segment when Lisa started talking about the spaghetti colander in the toilet, because that's a nugget. That's a nugget from someone who's been on the road for 30 years. That's a key nugget. You're not ever touching your own waste.
No.
You're not ever getting dirty or whatever, but it is a way to dispose of it cleanly and safely without having, when you're on a budget. And like she said, a colander at 99-cent store is 99 cents.
Right. And then there's always free newspapers or free shopping ads when you go in a grocery store. They always have their little ads and a little thing. Nobody minds if you take a stack, I mean, use plastic shopping bags for the trash. A lot of us do that. Yes, we would like to have less trash in our lives, but I mean, man, when you're vehicle camping, there are two things that are hard to get rid of completely. And that is cans from canned goods and shopping bags. Now, if you live in certain parts of the country, shopping bags are illegal, and that's wonderful. When I lived in New York, it was, and for years I didn't use them at all. But now I need to dispose of my waste, and that is a budget-friendly way to do it. And so I dispose of my waste in those bags. Yeah, at least they're reused. And we wish more of them were biodegradable, but that's an expensive thing. That's a whole nother subject. But so there are workarounds. There are ways around some things. Yes, cassette toilets is another option if you have to have that exiting evacuation piece. Yeah.
And that would appear to be to comply with ADOT's requirements.
Right. In Arizona.
As a suggestion. There are a lot of other ways.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, Lisa was getting into some different ideas as far as for those of you who are starting off new on a strict budget, whatever the reason is, there are a lot of options. And yes, you want to watch the videos, you want to learn from them. I certainly learn from them. Candy learns from them. But you also want to ally yourself with folks like Simply Lesa, who have been out here and who have experienced this and who have already made those mistakes and made those stumbles.
And off-grid people, you can learn a lot from off-grid people. You can learn a lot from people who live on boats.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I've lived without a refrigerator for over 20 years. If I hadn't researched how people lived on boats, I probably wouldn't have been quite as successful, because I still carry some fresh things with me. You just don't know that I do. And I carry some things like some dehydrated emergency foods that on purpose I carry so that if I'm not in the mood for going to the store or I've been gone for a long time, I still have some things to eat. I don't have to, because I don't, or when I'm on my property, which is, an 80-mile round trip not an 80-mile one-way trip to a Walmart. I'm like, I'm not, yeah. I don't want to run out of everything.
Sure. So to sum up, what would you tell, what would you say would be the top 3 things that you would tell somebody brand new?
Be careful where you get your information. Watch everything. Information is power. Watch everything. Listen to people. Talk to people. But hunt for people with more experience. Years of experience to ask for the realities of stuff. And maybe be a little careful how you ask, because some of the people who have been out here for a long time, some of us are... You just had an experience with this. Some of us are leery of sharing information with everybody. And some of us, might not be as socially adept at talking to a new person.
Or telling a joke that...
Yeah, telling a joke and we don't get it or something. So, just be a little careful as you come up to a person who does have a lot of information. I'm not saying that we're, I'm not...
And maybe put out that if you need help, don't be afraid to ask somebody in a camp what to look for.
Yeah.
Would be,
I tend to when I'm in a camp and I need help with something, depends on what I need the help with. If I think I need help with a strong thing, I look for a camp that's set up where there's heavy things. I mean, in my mind, this is just logical, or I kind of look for, that guy looks like he might work out, or that girl looks like she might work out. Maybe she could actually help me lift that, whatever it is.
And
I'm not afraid of asking.
What to look for.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to ask people for help, and I think, or to just talk to people. And I think all of my years of traveling, even in foreign countries, I've just learned to, there's going to be people with weird attitudes. There's going to be people who are unsafe, but you learn real quick if your red flags will go up. Your little hairs on the back of your neck will stand up. If you pay attention to those internal, intuitive signs, you're going to know, let's not continue that conversation with that person. Right. And you won't. And
you've said this before, Lesa. Nomad life is just like any other type of life.
Yeah.
You're not going to get along with everybody.
No.
You're not going to agree with everybody. And that's perfectly fine.
Right.
That's perfectly fine. You live your life on your terms.
Yeah.
And you will gravitate and attract individuals who feel the same way.
Right.
So
and you hang on to the ones that are good. Yeah. And the ones that don't quite fit, you just let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go. There'll be plenty of other people.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
So with that, and I'm sorry, this is kind of a long video, but with that, I want to thank Lesa of Simply Lesa channel. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you're a subscriber with her. And this is Rick and Candy from Woolly Bully channel, Woolly Bully Travels. I want to thank you very much for watching. If you do like the videos, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so we can catch you up. Yeah. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Bye.